Poisonrana.
Hello.
Hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Poisonrana. You found us on whatever podcast app you're listening to, or you found us
On youtube.com/@PoisonRanaPod. Hello, YouTubers. Hello, Poisonraners.
Poison Pals.
Poison Pals.
Friends.
Yeah, friends.
That's right. Hello. We are back. The boys are back in town. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. It is a new Poisonrana. After weeks of absence, we are back.
We are back. Yes, we've missed you. How is everyone? You all good?
Yeah, you doing
Good.
all right?
Glad to hear it.
How's
Yeah.
your folks? How's your cousins, your friends?
We all keeping it real?
Wow, look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always keep it real here on Poisonrana, and it's a big show here today because we are back. We are reunited. It feels so good, and we're gonna chat about everything going on in the world of pro wrestling. When it seems it's been pretty quiet since we've been away, we haven't missed much,
Yeah,
right?
what's happened?
Nothing, really, right?
No, just a couple of events here and there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So we're gonna talk all about that.
Yeah, wow, where do we start? So we were away for 3 weeks. We went to London. You visited Europe for the first time. Any patrons can hear all about it in our little road trip diaries we've got, and we just released a Behind the BDE talking in depth about our whole trip on the Poisonrana Patreon.
Yeah, that's right. Patrons, we were away. We did still release some shows like our All In 2018 review just before we left for our trip. But we did some road diaries where we recorded some voice notes and posted them on our patrons on our Patreon, where we were talking about our travels. We went to London, England. I was there for 2 weeks. You were there for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And in between that, we also did some trips and some travels across the city and across Europe even. So you want to hear all about our trip to Berlin and everything that we got up to while we were in London. I went to Aldi.
You did go to Aldi, yeah.
I got meal deals.
You did. You didn't go to Greg's, did you?
No.
I
walked
Gareth
by-
was a bit disappointed about that.
Yeah, I walked by a few of them.
Yeah.
Wenzel's and Greg's kind of looked mid.
Well, you didn't go.
Yeah,
You didn't go.
fair. Yeah, I did enjoy though Tesco
Mhm.
and what else did I? Lots of places.
Marks and Spencer's. I think
Yeah,
we
yeah,
went to,
yeah. That was fire too.
Yeah.
So I did. I'm pretty much British now after being there for 2 weeks. So that was a whole lot of fun, and yeah, we did a whole show for our world champs. It was like a road trip diary essentially. We did a long behind the BDE that maybe I'll make for all patrons in the next little while, just so they can hear all the trouble we got up to in London and Berlin, and
Yeah.
and you went to Barcelona as
Went to
well.
Barcelona too, yeah.
And you possibly got COVID.
Yeah, got a little sick, still recovering. Got an
So
inhaler now, I can't breathe.
oh wow, look
Yeah.
at you. Welcome. So yeah, we got a lot of things going on. So we're here to talk about it. So how you doing?
I'm exhausted. How are
Yeah?
you? Yeah.
I'm all right. Yeah, I worked yesterday during the day, so I'm not on the crazy schedule of TIFF like you are right now.
Yeah, I came back on Tuesday evening. I had one day off, and then I've been thrust back into work where it's TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival. The venue of most of the big films is immediately opposite our bar, so we're incredibly busy. And today is going to be day 4 of 14 in a row.
Wow.
For me. So very busy. Everyone's dropping like flies. Everyone's ill. But yeah, wouldn't miss this for the world.
Have you seen any celebrities?
No,
None have come in.
no.
I swear
Maybe someone said James Marsden was in the bar the other day.
Cyclops.
Yeah, but I didn't
Shit,
see him.
dude.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. I saw Nickelback for free the other day.
Oh, you did go.
I made it.
Okay, nice.
They were on at 7,
Mm.
and they played free on just off King Street on John for a whole hour. And I left work just a little early. We were airing the news like, "Hey, Nickelback's on at 7." I'm like, "Wait, I can kind of make it. It's somewhat on the way home to where we live." And I made it just as like thousands. You must have seen how crazy King Street was.
Friday was nuts.
It was
Absolutely
insane.
nuts.
I mean, Nickelback, the Kings of Canada, I guess, played for free, and a lot of people showed up. It's because they have a new documentary about how people hate Nickelback.
Well, I think also it's because there aren't any stars because of the strike, so no
Yeah.
actors or anything are like involved really this year at TIFF.
I saw that, but then I'm reading like the other day, I'm walking by King Street and people are going nuts, and I'm like, oh, who's actually here? Willem Dafoe was there. Nicolas Cage was here today.
So I think there's like loopholes because a lot of actors have producer credits on their films. So I think a lot might be doing it in the producer sense, but I can imagine a lot of people kind of being a bit miffed by that. Similar with like John Cena being on SmackDown now for the next 8 weeks because of these strikes, and it's like, well, are you really striking then? If you're still doing entertainment stuff.
But you must feel for like certain people. I don't necessarily feel for a lot of the big names. It's people who's like been putting their blood, sweat, and tears into stuff, and then not even being able to tweet out like, "Hey, watch my show." That's pretty shitty. So I mean, while Hollywood's on strike, this is gonna push back like new content for quite a while now. Like it takes a while to pump out TV shows and movies, so this is gonna push stuff back. Like the movies and shows you've been waiting for to come back or whatever. Like that's gonna be a while.
But you know what people can do?
Yeah,
watch the shit they've never watched before.
That's right. Go back and watch
thousands of films and TV shows you've probably never seen out there.
Even better, you can listen to podcasts about us watching. Striking. Yeah, we watch stuff and talk about it. So join in on our little book club and go back and check out a lot of our movie reviews and wrestling reviews. We make wrestling playlists for you for Best Match Ever, and you don't even know it. So go check out those shows that we do. Some of them are free on this feed, and some of them are behind our paywall on our Patreon. But we will not stop watching stuff and talking about it. So no striking here.
And that's a good segue to talk about everything that's coming up on this feed and the Patreon. You just released a episode of Detox with Jordan Goodman.
Yes, me and Jordan chatted about Margaritaville, the Smash Mouth singer, and a whole lot of stuff you don't need to hear, but go check it out if you need some company on a long drive or something like that. So go check out the Detox. I know we got to shout out Sino and B Detroit for holding the fort down.
Fantastic job the last few weeks.
What Up Next was awesome. So go check out those shows where they covered NXT for the past little while. They do a show on this very free feed called What Up Doe, and they will be back, I'm thinking, in the next week or so, chatting a bit about everything. I know Sino was just at the TNA shows. Sorry, Impact.
Yeah.
TNA 1000. I don't care.
Impact 1000. Yeah.
That's right. So I know he's got a lot to talk about, and his stuff over on the Post Wrestling website, he's been covering that. So go check all that stuff out. But yeah, B and Sino, amazing gems to fill in. We finally took a vacation, so that was fun. So yeah,
we're going to be putting out a couple of free shows in the next few weeks on this feed as well. We recorded a couple of years ago now on our Patreon show Best Match Ever Terry Funk, and with the very sad passing of Terry Funk a couple of weeks ago, we thought it'd be a good time to share this for free. This was actually a really fun show we did. It kind of stemmed out of the Ric Flair Ricky Steamboat Best Match Ever we did, and we kind of just let the video run and saw the Funk promo setting up the match with Flair, and we thought, well, let's talk about the Funker. So really good show, and as you mentioned, whole playlist of matches you can watch that are available out there. So we're going to be putting that out for free next week on this feed.
Yeah, we put it out on our Patreon a while ago, and it's great. A lot of the matches that we talk about are really accessible, like either on the network or just like YouTube and stuff, because they're really old. But we cover like Funk and Flair and Funk and his matches. I think Foley as well, and just all these epic Terry Funk like matches and memories, and one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. So definitely go check that out. I'll put it out for free this week on this very feed, so look for that. Also, cheap little plug for more Terry Funk. I will be joining WH Park next month on the winding battle, the long and winding lonely road, to talk about some Terry Funk as well. So can't wait for that as a little sneak peek. But yeah, so look for that Terry Funk thing. Terry Funk forever. R.I.P. the GOAT.
We're also going to be putting out for free on this feed in the next couple of weeks Best Match Ever Bray Wyatt.
Yes.
Again, while we were away, incredibly sad, the passing of Bray. Reports that he had been like quietly suffering with COVID and then had a heart attack in his sleep. Incredibly sad. We were sat at a bar with Benno and Steph on a Thursday night.
Getting lit,
drinking some prosecco when the really sad news came out, and kind of stopped us in our tracks a little bit.
36 years old,
And
No way.
yeah, I think there's a whole lot we can talk about with Bray. Really interesting career. Not just the matches, but I think the kind of creativity and the different gimmicks and the Firefly Funhouse and all that sort of stuff is stuff we'll be talking about as we celebrate the life of Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda.
Yes, R.I.P. Very sad, and all the thoughts go out to the family there. And go buy a Bray Wyatt shirt or any of the merch, because they're putting all the sales towards the family, which I think is just absolutely awesome from WWE. And I thought the tribute they did was fantastic as well, especially with the empty rocking chair that seems to be used even in like what the baseball team just did it as well. It's kind of showing support.
Know Arsenal played Wyatt's music during like halftime of the game. Lots of tributes everywhere. We were at All In and we had the House of Black tribute with Buddy Matthews bringing out the lantern.
We even did it at All In It.
Come out. We did it
at our karaoke party afterwards as well. So yeah, all the love to the families. Like the Funker, he was super old and he's retired and unretired, and like we kind of knew, hey, like it's still sad and stuff, but to be an active member, a 36-year-old, and to hear it's all about like complications of his heart and all that stuff is just really, really sad.
It's super scary. Like I just turned 34, so only a couple of years younger than Bray. My brother is 37. Like a whole lot of us are around that age. Yeah. And like as I said, I'm pretty sure I just caught COVID again recently, and so yeah, just terrifying that this can happen to healthy people.
So we want to honor him the way we can only do, and that's doing a best match ever. We're going to look at his whole career and kind of pick out some highlights. Obviously the match with the Shield will be talked about, his Firefly Funhouse. So there's some stuff with Brian in there we definitely got to talk about, but everything in between there, we got the whole world in our hands, and we'll be chatting about that I think we're recording that in like 2 weeks or something.
2 weeks, yeah, once the film festival's done.
Yeah, of course. Later this week, I'll put up a feedback thread in the Facebook group. If you're not in that, join Poison Rana, because we'll be asking for your favorite matches, memories, and all that stuff involving Bray Wyatt. So lots of stuff that I can't wait to do that, but I'm gonna definitely have to put on my research cap for that and go back and rewatch a lot of Bray stuff. So recommendations will be welcomed, people. Thank you.
And then we've talked a lot about Bray in the past on our show What's Next as well, where he kind of started this gimmick in NXT with the whole Wyatt family.
We've watched it all.
We've watched his whole run.
Yeah.
So, and we did just put out an episode of What's Next just last week on the Patreon. But again, you can go back and listen to all them. It's really interesting seeing where a lot of these characters started off from. But we've got a whole lot more coming out on the Patreon this month too.
Yes. Hey, we just had a long and expensive trip. That Canadian dollar does not go very far in Europe, I've learned. So support your boys. It's only $5 to get a whole month's access of our Patreon, and it gets you everything in our back catalog there of all these movie reviews and wrestling reviews and everything coming out this month, including we're going to some Up Yours picks, and our family members, our world champs, get to pick stuff. Usually they pick wrestling or movies. Well, Andrew McDonald has picked this, like what, 1980s? 1990 30-minute cartoon, like PSA thing where all these cartoon characters got together like a multiverse to tell kids not to do drugs. I don't know why Andrew's picked this.
I'm so confused.
But if you think you could do a better pick, become a family member now over at our Patreon, because we're gonna record this week, and for some reason we're gonna review this and chat about it.
What is it? Cartoon All Stars to the Rescue from 1990.
Jesus Christ.
A show that was simulcast across a whole load of networks.
Wow.
We'll be talking all about kind of how this show came about, and probably diving a bit into all these different cartoon characters and our memories from them. As I said, I'm very confused, but that's something we do on Patreon. We hand it over to you guys, and this is what got picked.
This is what got picked, and bless them, we're gonna do it. So that's coming out on the Patreon, but maybe something a bit more in your world. I forget who's picked it now, but we're gonna be looking at in a few weeks, leading up to Grand Slam in New York City. We're gonna review Escape from New York.
Yes, we'll be joined by Justin Killian.
Yes, family member.
We've had on a few times, who's great fun to chat to, who's picked this show, and we thought, what better time to release it than with Arthur Ashe just around the corner.
Yeah, so we will be escaping from New York, chatting all about Kurt Russell. I can't wait to revisit this movie. It's been like, people have jokingly said, oh, if I joined, I would pick that. So Justin is kind of beating them to the punch. So some great picks there from Andrew and some Justin.
All over the place.
And we know we have an NXT No Mercy at the end of the month, and we thought it would be good just before that show comes out. We will be doing a post show for that on the Post Wrestling feed in the next few weekends, but we thought it'd be great to look back at a retro No Mercy, diggity dog. But we just went from the beginning, and we chose 1999 from the US.
Yes, this one has famously the first ladder match between the Hardys and Edge and Christian.
One of my favorite matches of all time.
It's the tit match, right?
That's right.
And who knows? Maybe very soon, all four of these men could be under the same roof once again.
We might see this match.
We might see this match
year
again soon. So, you know, I was pushing for 2000 because it has one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, Naked Midian, on it, but
maybe next year.
Maybe next year if NXT continue with this No Mercy trend.
So yeah, we'll be reviewing Escape from New York and No Mercy and lots of other stuff over on our Patreon. It's only $5 to support you boys, and you get access to these things coming out this week, and then some of the shows in our catalog, all the shows in our catalog there. So yeah, lots and lots of podcasts.
Yes.
So go support us. If you haven't given us a shot, go check it out.
But we did go to a little show a couple of weeks ago called All In.
That's correct.
And
we
I
did.
mean, we're not going to run through the whole card because it's kind of come and gone by this point. But we thought we'd give a bit of our kind of live perspective from this first of what seems to be many more to come Wembley Stadium shows.
Yes, we had quite a trip, as we mentioned. We went through, I finally been to Europe. I finally did London. You were a fantastic tour guide. We did go to Wembley before we went to All In because we checked out, we went from Toronto all the way to London to watch The Weeknd, who's from Toronto, who killed it at Wembley Stadium. So that was a great show. But I want to say thanks for being a great tour guide over our trip. And over those 2 weeks, it was like All In was just like a little extra bonus. Like, oh yeah, we have this wrestling show to go to because we were just so broken down, especially after Berlin. We were beat up.
So beat up.
Yeah.
I always say to people when they go to London, like it's really helpful having someone who knows the city because you've kind of experienced it now. You've seen how big a city it is, and especially if people are only going for like a weekend or something, it can be quite overwhelming. But I think we pretty much hit everything we wanted to hit. Especially that first day, you kind of saw everything before going to the weekend. The Big Ben, the whole Thames River, like there's so much things to see downtown London. Got to go to Camden Market quite a few times. Just got to see everything over there, and we were there for quite a while, and it was so cool. It is overwhelming. Like you've kind of mentioned to me, it's like the population of London is pretty much like bigger than the whole population of Canada. Yeah. So like that city is just like really crazy. Like it's like New York, but everyone sounds funny, and everyone drives on the wrong side of the road. They sound pretty funny.
Yeah. Who does sound funnier? Yeah. I learned a lot. I picked up some great lingo, like glass me, bruv. Yeah. Glass me, bro. So that was pretty good. Got to see a whole lot of stuff, and we even got to do like our own show. We did a pre-show and a post-show for All In over at Trinity Bar in Harrow in London. And if you're listening to this and you were there, I want to say thank you. There's too many names to list out there, but we had people show up for our event from like England, all over London, Ireland, Scotland, Australia. People were the United States,
Denmark.
Yeah. People were coming like Maz is international here. So this was just fantastic. And to anyone out there who showed up, and hey, even if you were there in spirit, thank you for supporting. But for all these people who I talked to briefly and who said they've been listening to me for like so long and listening to us since like we got together doing this, it just like I do not take that for granted. So I want to say thank you for everyone who supports us and showed up for us, because it was really nice putting like names to faces and meeting people in real life, and all that stuff can be pretty fun and weird, but we do this quite a lot with our wrestling world travels, and I really was just blown away by some of the love and support from some of you people. So thank you.
I think shout out Trinity as well, who are great hosts.
Yeah.
Gave us the venue absolutely free for the whole day. They're a live music venue, so they host a lot of bands and things, but don't really do podcasts on wrestling and all that. So I don't think they quite knew what to expect, but they seem really happy with it. It's definitely probably an option for next year if the Grapple lads and either one of us or both of us or whatever decide to do it again. But yeah, really good fun, really great seeing everyone there. The Grapple lads put on a great show. We played some games, some fun games.
Oh yeah, shout out the Grapple lads, as you said, because Benno leading the charge. It was just so much fun with them. They did a bit of a show. I believe it's over on their Patreon now, where they counted down some favorite wrestling memories and stuff. And then me and you played some games. We had some great masks to give away. We had the shout out Pure Fandom who gave us some masks and
we were just throwing shit into the audience.
Yeah,
like,
you had.
Do you want this?
Yeah.
It.
Yeah, I bought a few masks that people were like, "How the hell did you get?" I guess over there, bringing stuff from Mexico is like kind of far, so people over there were like, "Holy shit, man, this is crazy!" So we played a game of Who Tweeted That, which went over really well with Street Fight Tonight.
Yeah.
So we did. We had the place rocking for
yeah.
quite a while, and everyone said they had a good time. And your cocktails were a success. You want to see them? Go check out our socials because it's posted on there somewhere deep in there. But I think the Muscle Buster was
Muscle Buster was definitely the
fan favorite
one.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Cavoisier, cider and cranberry.
Whew. Yeah, it was fantastic. So yeah, we had a great precursor to All In, and then we went to the show. But then when we came back, we had a bit of a karaoke party, and people were singing karaoke wrestling songs. We did a tribute to Bray Wyatt. We had people then starting to show up who were like, "Oh, it's just normal karaoke," and then it just turned into, "Can I sing Taylor Swift?" Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But still, we had quite a good time. So for anyone, check. I have some pictures and videos. I'll eventually post some and have to post some of the stuff that we got up to. But it was a fantastic time. And shout out Grapple. They are awesome as well.
And what did you think of All In?
Yeah, I mean, now we can. Yeah, I wanted to shout that out. But All In was awesome. It was something to be seen for sure, and crazy that they, broke the record.
Yeah.
I still say broke the record because those people in Korea didn't have to pay to go. So all those years ago at Collision. So
it is officially highest paid attendance.
Attendance. It broke WWE's record of this, which is pretty crazy. And I know the WWE diehards are really butthurt about this, and they're like, well, actually, numbers and all this. And,
people are fucking weird, aren't
they?
It's
it's pretty crazy. And you know what? There were a lot of people there. Like, holy shit. Wembley is huge. That thing is a spaceship, and there was a lot of people. And I've been lucky enough to do one WrestleMania. I know you've done a bunch, but like this felt like WrestleMania. This felt like everyone was going crazy from the second you got off the tube, mind the gap, and you had to walk down that parkway.
Seeing the posters everywhere, seeing them on the side of the buses and all that.
All around the city. Yeah, like this felt like the city was being taken over. Wembley Park was taken over.
I think one thing that is never going to beat WWE is the kind of spectacle nature of it. I mean, that stadium was pretty packed, but the set they kind of kept to pretty much a minimum. You just had the tunnel, which actually looked pretty cool on TV. Where we were sat, we didn't really get the experience of the tunnel, but I actually thought on TV that looked pretty good. But definitely like WWE crushes it when it comes to the sets and all that for their WrestleManias. But I loved all the, watching Will Ospreay come out, someone I've seen in kind of tiny clubs performing in front of
that's this whole roster,
50 people.
This whole roster is full of guys. You're like, dude, I used to watch you in like dinky little gyms, and like now you're at Wembley. It's
watching
just
them
insane.
Come out with the fireworks and all that. Like I got really emotional at that point.
Nice.
And so that was cool. I just loved it once the sun went down. It's cool seeing some wrestling in the daytime, but I always love when you go to these outdoor events when suddenly the sun goes down and it, you had the fireflies out for House of Black, and you've got all the fireworks going off. It feels huge.
It did. It felt like WrestleMania. It felt like a big, huge moment for not just AEW, which is like a 4-year-old company.
Yeah.
Which is just hats off to that, to see that actually happen, to be there. But again, we're spoiled. We've been to shows over here. We just did Forbidden Door weekend. We've done Dynamites. We've done other pay-per-views and WWE shows as well. For a lot of people over there, that was the first time being able to sing Wild Thing and Jane and Judas and everything. So it was really cute to just see like everyone getting so into it. And I really had a fantastic time. Like I said, we had quite a long day. We had quite a long 2 weeks because we were just so beat up from partying and visiting and doing fun stuff. But we rallied. You were dying. You had like five. You borrowed.
I wasn't good.
Like 5 different people's jackets and hoodies. I
was
looked over you.
I was very, very sick
You,
that day.
you look like you were like, I don't like trying to steal, like you were stealing from a store by putting
boy.
on different layers. You were extra layers.
I was Joey when he wears.
Yeah, Chandler. Look at me.
Yeah.
Could I be wearing? Yeah, that was you. So I just, everything there was like awesome. I enjoyed all the wrestling, like from front to back. I don't think there was a match that made me go, oh, this is stupid or this is bad. So
yeah, I think my highlights were Ospreay Jericho, FTR the Bucks,
yeah,
and probably Samoa Joe and Punk, who I thought had a really fun opener.
that was really fun.
Completely eclipsed their first match. I think you realize, and we'll get into Punk later, but you realize even like these kind of performers, Punk and Joe, they're definitely not at their prime anymore, but they definitely have the sort of ring IQ to put on like a very compelling match, despite not being able to go out there and kind of do what they did back in, what was it, 07 or whatever. But they're both very smart, both knowing how to work the crowd. Punk with that, you know, the Cena and the Hogan spots. Joe with his walk away thing, doing the wanker motion and all that. I thought that was a really fun opener. And my friends really enjoyed the coffin match as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, it had a little bit of everything on this show. I think my favorite match, Jericho stepped up. Oh, absolutely, for sure. That match was awesome. Ospreay can probably wrestle a blow up doll, but Jericho definitely had to hit some moves in that, and he did.
The counter from, what was it, the Stormbreaker counter into the like Rana into the walls. Fantastic. Was awesome.
Jericho once again reinvigorating himself and proving he's one of the GOATs in my opinion. Just really love that match. And fuck it, he got to come out with Fozzy, and I loved it.
I as soon as they announced this show, I said, "Oh, Jericho is 100% doing that." And he even did the Freddy stuff. Like,
he probably told everyone else, I'm doing that
Freddy.
Yeah, no one else do that. I'm doing that.
Which we actually did in Harrow as well.
Yeah, we did a bunch at our
event. To warm people up. I still have the same criticisms I had a few weeks ago before the show. I don't think the build was good.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of confusing stuff here. For example, like Stadium Stampede. You've just done Anarchy in the Arena, which is the same thing.
Same thing.
And I feel like Blood and Guts being when it was kind of took away from a lot of the build for this show. I think this should be their WrestleMania. You should have a 2-month build to like properly cement all this. I don't understand if you knew you were going to do Stadium Stampede like 6 weeks after the last pay-per-view, do Blood and Guts at Double or Nothing.
Right.
You know, and then once Double or Nothing's over, it's like, right, all we're focusing on now is All In. And then you've got the confusion with having All Out afterwards. So obviously, all these wrestlers are fantastic and delivered, but I wasn't particularly thrilled about the card.
Yeah.
Other things like Ospreay. He was your big British babyface at Wembley. He's a babyface right now in New Japan. Why have him be a heel against Jericho, who has just turned from... He's been a heel for the last 4 years, whatever. Has just turned babyface like a week before this show for the hometown hero who lives about an hour away from Wembley to be heel out there with Don Callis, the biggest heel in the company. And then obviously everyone, he's British. He's the British star. Everyone's going to be supporting him. I found that very confusing and just like shitty booking.
Yeah.
Really.
Obviously the build to it was not good, and you look at that card and you definitely head scratched quite a few times, even during the show, like, hey, there was some good stuff, but what this company could offer, I think there was a lot more talent that could have been on the card and this and that, but they still managed to fit in a lot of people onto the show, which was good. With the Stadium Stampede, it allowed like multiple matches. There wasn't a lot of singles matches, which I think also like really hurt. Like you could have had one more really big.
I think so.
Kenny came out and got one of the biggest. We were there. Kenny got one of the biggest reactions. The moment his music hit, shout out, finally fucking hearing Battle Cry fully, because in Wembley that was pretty cool. But from when he came out to when he got pinned by Takeshita, which we'll talk about that in a little bit more too, like his reaction was loud. People had not seen this guy wrestle. They were waiting to see this guy. If you did the Takeshita match, I
don't think when he's performed in the UK.
Yeah, probably not anywhere this capacity, obviously. But like, yeah, I thought the match was good too. But I think that match, the week later, if you just did that All In, people have been like, "Holy shit, man, that blew their minds."
That was one of my least favorite matches on the show.
The mixed
6-man.
Oh,
yeah.
I still really got into it. Yeah,
I think Ibushi just isn't there for
At the
me
same
right
level?
now, and I thought I'm enjoying Bullet Club Gold stuff right now on Collision, but yeah, it didn't do a whole lot for me, and the reaction for Kenny was insane, and yeah, like that man 100% should be in a singles match.
yeah. I think they got a lot of people on the show, and people got their spots and their moments, and I think at the end of the day, it'll go down as like one of their biggest show. Like being there was watching it back. Actually, I have not watched it front to back, but I have kind of cherry picked some moments and entrances and stuff like that. And like it looks phenomenal. It looks like on par with WWE, if not even superior. With when entrances would have the pyro and the drone shots and everything,
yeah.
I was like, this looks incredible. I loved. People were like, "Oh, what were you doing in London?" I was like, "Hey, let me show you where I was at." And people were like, "What? That's wrestling at this thing? Like that is insane." And going back to the Stadium Stampede, that's a clip. They finally let Moxley do the skewers on AEW, and that got a huge reaction and got crazy views and traction online. I started showing everybody this clip. Be like, "Look what I watched the other day," and they're like, "Wait, but it's fake." Yeah, kind of, because those things were in his fucking head.
They're in his head.
I love it.
I don't understand how you do that.
And that one, like, it flopped down, and then like it. Oh man.
Yeah.
Anyways, I loved the whole show. Was there a moment, a match on it that was like the best match I've ever seen? No, but
Yeah.
there wasn't one that I went, "Holy shit, that sucked," because there was everything was good. So
everything delivered. Yeah.
yeah, everything did. So like I will say, as far as I've been to a lot of shows, it was something that I'll always remember because it had great matches and it had like just the spectacle behind it. So I do think it was a double thumbs up for me. Like just watching it was just so cool.
Another kind of confusing thing for me was like it's similar to the Osprey thing. I don't really understand why you didn't just turn Saraya a little bit more babyface the weeks leading up, kind of introduce that tension with Toni Storm a bit more, because she was a huge babyface on that show and obviously winning the title. Did you see the Emi Sakura video?
Right, yeah, because she loves Freddie, obviously, the AO stuff, and then she was there crying
when Saraya was coming out to We Will Rock You.
Yeah.
Which, like, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, you should have given that to Emmy." Emmy's not been on Dynamite for like 3 years until very recently. I'm like, I'm sorry, but like, I know you like Freddie, but someone's got to do it.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be one of if Osprey's not, it's Saraya.
Yeah,
like you're gonna have one of the Brits doing Queen at Wembley.
Yeah,
sorry, Emi Sakura. I loved Saraya's post though. Did you see?
Yeah, she replied to her.
She's just giving her the finger and calling her a loser.
Yeah, the Saraya thing's weird. It's like, hey, we're gonna clearly drop the title off Tony to give to Shida because we're gonna give it to Saraya. Like you saw that the second that happened, and then you give her Queen, so she comes out, and the crowd are really supportive of her, obviously, right? But she comes out with her family and everything, and I think that's is a double like blade for me. It's like I think that's pretty cool. I followed her for a long time. I used to really be a big fan. As of late, I don't really like her because of the stuff that she says and does outside of TV. And I thought it was a big way to just like shove that like in your face. Like, hey, look, she didn't really do much in this match, but she won and then got this huge moment. Like, I'm really happy for that, but I'm also like,
it's really weird. I've somehow been at like all of Saraya's big moments.
Okay.
I was there when she debuted on Raw and beat AJ Lee.
Okay.
I was there when she retired, announced her retirement. I was there when she
fought Vince Vaughn,
returned at AEW.
Oh yeah.
I was then there at her first match in AEW.
Wow.
And now there when she wins the women's title in AEW.
You're the biggest Paige fan ever.
I'm just the biggest Paige fan, clearly. Very odd.
Yeah. It was still cool, and of course she got the Freddie stuff, but also like on the topic of music, Sting coming out to Seek and Destroy.
That was awesome.
Lost my mind for that.
Yeah.
Just as I lost my mind, I told you I saw Nickelback the other day. Mm-hmm. They randomly played it.
Oh,
they're
nice.
like, we just want to rock, and then
we
started
just
playing
AEW and
I started going, fuck yeah! And people were like, wait, is this Metallica? I was like, I don't know why they're doing it, but hearing that for Sting was fucking rad. Yeah, I really love that.
Main event was fun, not really to my taste though. I definitely enjoyed their Dynamite match a bit more. I thought there was a bit too much kind of storytelling
Right.
with the two in there. But I think we are eventually going to get that singles match again with one of them as a clear heel, you know, after the split.
Yeah.
But still a fun way to finish, and you had that feel-good moment with them, you know, still being friends at the end of the show.
Yeah, I thought like their wrestling was. I like this one more than the TV one because it still had wrestling, but it did have a bit of the like WWE shit in it with all that hokiness. But it worked in a rare thing. I think this story is like working for them because it's getting a lot of people like who don't just watch Dynamite for good wrestling. You need more than that, and I think this storyline definitely brings that audience in. Like I know a few friends who never really cared about AEW, but now are just like, oh, Better Than You, baby, is the best, and like they're super into it now because of that. So maybe WWE does need to do more. Sorry, AEW does need to do more stories like this because it does kind of work and it leads you.
For me, it's more the comedy in the actual match as the main event,
yeah. I totally.
Which
see that.
I'm one who's really been enjoying their segments together, but I
In
think
the
for
match.
the main event,
Yeah.
when it's that match, I would have wanted to see them be more, you know, just competitive wrestling and then do the shit at the end. But it was still a lot of fun, and the crowd was so into it as well. Like it was talking to people, it was a lot of people's favorite. So
Yeah.
just personal tastes.
Absolutely. I love the Bucks and FTR. That you can never go wrong with those two teams fighting. They're just on a whole other level. And I don't really know where you go with the Bucks from this now that they've teamed up with FTR and everything, but really was into that. I really had nothing bad to say about All In except it could have been a better card because
I think
I'm selfish and
that's the thing. I mean, I think Forbidden Door 1, we were having a lot of complaints where I know they were kind of plagued with some injuries and stuff there. But we were complaining about sort of the build for that card and so many 6-mans and stuff. And they learnt their lesson because this year, Forbidden Door, right off the gate, they were like, okay, we're doing Danielson Okada and we're doing Omega Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
They announced it. 2 big matches. And I think right away, everyone just went, yep, that's what we want. And it didn't really matter what the rest of the card is. I'm hoping next year, you know, we get that proper 6-week, 2-month build for this show. Treat it like a WrestleMania. WrestleMania, you start building from January, really, don't you?
Yeah.
And try and figure out a way to make it work with All Out the following week.
I don't know why you're doing too.
They're doing it again by the sounds of it.
So
they want to
bizarre.
keep it the Labor Day weekend and the UK bank holiday, but it makes no sense to me. I think it's a bit detrimental to storytelling and stuff, and you end up having both feel a bit diluted and rushed.
Yeah.
But if they can figure out a way to make it work, whether it's more like a WrestleMania Night 1, Night 2 sort of deal, which is disappointing because you're going to lose out on some stars, but they need to try and figure it out for next year.
Yeah, there's no way some of the wrestlers who were on All Out who didn't get to wrestle at All In weren't butthurt about that.
Yeah.
Like you worked just as hard, if not harder, and you know, AR Fox got booked
Yeah.
and then got pulled.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like I could only imagine being in that boat there. But either way, I thought they knocked it out the park with that. It's like, hey, no one's going to our shows in North America again. Punk's a fraud. He's not drawing like we thought he would. Let's go book a stadium show in another country. Oh, we sold out and broke a record. Why don't we just do that again and keep doing that?
I think AEW definitely need to go back to what I think they started off doing really well, which was making these towns feel important for different people. You know, you go to Long Island and it's MJF country. You go to Chicago, it was Punk country. You go to Pittsburgh, it's Britt Baker country. I think they need to start going back to that and try to really, really make each town feel special.
Right.
Giving people like, oh yeah, I want to go to see this person there or whatever, because they used to be really good at that, and I think they've dropped the ball a bit, and it's showing that with ticket sales. And I think a lot of it is, you know, I think there's maybe a bit of fatigue with just seeing good wrestling, because there's so much good wrestling out there, and you need that story element. And I think we'll get onto this week's Dynamite and stuff in a little bit, but I definitely think they've realized that, because I think this was a breath of fresh air this week with AEW and Collision, because I think right away we're seeing direction for the next few events, which we were scratching our heads for, you know, the last few, like, okay, what's the match? What's the match? We seem to see clear direction after this Wednesday and Saturday.
Direction is what they need, and
Yeah.
it definitely helps. And announcing matches before weeks before events will help ticket sales. That's how we are. Like, oh, they're going to, maybe it's a little far from you, but you're like, maybe I'll go. If you know in advance, hey, in 3 weeks it's this match. All right, I gotta go to this.
And also going like, oh, I wonder what the next chapter in MJF Adam Cole is. I wonder what the next chapter in Swerve Strickland Adam Page is going to be. Like, being compelled to the stories to want to see it, I think is going to help them.
But I'd say traveling over there, I'm sure they'll do small. I thought they'd do like smaller shows throughout like Europe, but instead they'll just make everyone from Europe go back to Wembley. So
I think we'll maybe see, you know, them start doing, now that I think it was important to make that first show,
that first
in
week.
the UK, the big one, and just have it just that. I think you could do, you know, your Liverpools, your Manchesters, maybe some mainland Europe as well. I don't know.
Japan.
Yeah.
Do one big show.
MJF's pushing for Mexico, isn't he?
He's pushing not for Japan too. So in the weird way, it is for Japan at the same time. Yeah. Pretty cool. One downer about All In is they didn't use All In by Downstate.
They did release a video package though after. Did you see it?
They
did
song?
a highlights video with that song.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
No, I saw they used Bush Adrenaline or one of those things. WWE's ripped it off before. They used that all night at the show, and then I saw some edits with Born Slippy, which I was like, that's fucking cool. But I did not see the Downstate one. But yeah, I loved that. Great time all around.
Also, another low point: the guy a few rows behind us lobbing his beer every 10
We
minutes.
didn't get hit, but some people got hit.
And we kept missing who it was.
Yeah,
But
these people were getting hit by. That's the worst thing you could throw at someone because you just spent fucking $20 on it. What an idiot. Yeah, there's a lot of people there though. We saw the weekend 2 weeks before, and then AEW. The weekend had more people at. It was 87,000 tickets sold for a single artist, but he had like a stage that allowed more people in there.
Yeah.
So there was a lot more screaming girls at the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot more BO at
Many
Wembley.
blokes, yeah.
But don't worry, because I had the Lynx body spray for all people to use. The can of Lynx that I went to Poundland. Yes, that is a real store.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I laughed
And it's
at it
better than
every
Dollar
time.
Armor because everything is a pound.
Everything was no, it wasn't.
Have they changed?
Oh yeah, it was balls.
What?
Yeah, lies.
No. come on.
Poundland.
No, it used to be literally everything was a pound at
I'm gonna
Poundland.
take it at Poundland. Yeah, it wasn't. I spent like £3 on Lynx.
Fuck.
Yeah, man. Sorry.
Disgusting.
Well, anyone who went to our event and used my communal can of Lynx, which is pretty much British Axe body spray, didn't smell bad at all.
People were all for it.
Yeah.
And that's why we have the best listeners out there. But then we had All Out the following week.
Yeah. So you were still in the UK.
Yeah.
I was back by then, and I watched it at home. But did you stay up to watch it live, or you watch it like the day after?
I was on my birthday, I think.
Oh, right,
So
okay.
I watched most of it the next day. I was still feeling like pretty shitty.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I tried to get you something.
Oh.
We went to Berlin.
Yeah.
And what are they called again? Spotties?
Yeah, Spetties.
Like bodegas?
Yeah.
And we saw this cat shirt.
Okay.
That does not exist online. So I
Okay.
got you a different one.
Oh. What is this?
It's a different
It's like
shirt.
vacuum.
Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna be able
to.
to.
Cat burrito. Amazing. Thank you.
We're trying to find this pink tie-dye shirt with cats all over.
Burrito.
Burrito, yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you.
I couldn't find this shirt like anywhere. So if anyone like from Germany or wherever, as Davey shows the cat burrito shirt, I'm trying to find it because we kept going to these like little bodegas and you can drink everywhere in Germany. And Germany, that's a whole other story. It was just amazing. But this shirt, we didn't buy it. We kept saying, okay, we'll get it before tonight, and then we got too late and forgot. And then I was like, And then in Camden, I saw like other ones, but they weren't as good. So I was like, I'm sure this shirt exists. I cannot find it. So
Yeah, we wanted to all get the shirt and then try to go back to the punk bar that we weren't allowed in the day before to see if just a cap shirt would make our situation any better. 'Cause they didn't like watermelon jellyfish.
no, watermelon jellyfish usually goes over really well, including like clubs and everything. But this one punk
In
bar
Berlin,
in Berlin,
they just think we're trying to sell drugs and that we're a couple, and they didn't like that.
yeah, Berlin was wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, happy birthday.
Thank you very much. But yeah, we had All Out, which, I mean, someone in the chat was saying if you thought the build for All In was bad, well, All Out made it look like War and Peace in comparison.
Yes.
Very rushed, put together show, but once again, you know, some of the best wrestlers in the world doing really good wrestling.
This one was interesting to me. I actually wasn't going to watch it. Our big friend Big Tom, we were like, hey, All Out's on, let's watch it. The day before, 2 days before, it was like, should we watch it or just like meet up and have a drink? You wanted to hear about our travels and stuff. But then CM Punk got fired. Then they had a pay-per-view in Chicago, like a day after, which made things a bit more interesting, personally, for me. And then we said, no, we got to stay in and see how this crowd reacts. Got to say, Chicago, well done.
Yeah.
Well done. You didn't just shit all over the bed for no reason at all. You didn't just piss yourselves for the benefit of doing it. You were there to support wrestling and AEW, and I actually was really surprised by that. Of course, you're going to get CM Punk chants during Buck stuff or you know, someone flipping off Hangman in the front row. That's going to happen, and people are allowed to do that at these shows. But I was pretty surprised.
Me too. It's like they kind of got it out the way in the first segment of Collision, and then were there to support. And I think that is the thing. Like, I think Chicago, they are die-hard wrestling fans, and they understand what this AEW brand is and what they're trying to do. And this was kind of created by wrestlers off the back of the original All In. And yeah, they're sad, but I feel I feel most people are just kind of disappointed by this whole Punk thing. And eventually you're like, no, it's not these guys' fault that this is happening. So let's support the wrestling.
Yeah, like by the time All In was going on, and then everyone who got service in the Wembley Stadium could see the story kind of circulating, like, another Punk thing. By the end of the night at All In It, our post show, everyone was talking about it, and someone requested Tarzan Boy and didn't know anything. So when he came on stage, he was like, can you help me? Like, I want to do this song. I was like, absolutely. I thought he picked it because, and we're doing it, and they're doing the Tarzan Boy stuff, and I kept like doing ad libs and saying stuff, and people were laughing, and then he kind of was like, I don't get it. And then like I go, oh, and then he kind of turned to me and like, oh, I don't know this part, like this verse. So I went, you son of a bitch, and I jokingly put him in a sleeper. Everyone thought it was hilarious. He didn't know what was going on. He's like, why are you putting me in a sleeper?
Who are you and what are you doing to me?
Felt like I was CM Punk putting this guy in a sleeper. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't, lock it in, but it was like kind of the talk of the town, and that like something had happened with CM Punk, obviously, then Jack Perry is like the person that they got in this altercation, and that would start everyone from wondering what the fuck's going on. And once again, taking away from everyone being like, wow, wasn't that an amazing show I watched at 1 p.m. during the day to a lot of Americans? Instead, what's going on with CM Punk? And he's fighting around the world today yet again. So
the guy's got serious anger management issues.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a normal reaction to have to people.
Right.
You know, like,
cry me a river.
I mean, the line wasn't even that bad, you know, from Jack Perry. That's not the way. You don't react to something like that by fucking sucker punching and choking someone out.
Like,
you know, it's pathetic.
Like again, I'm trying to catch up with all the dirt sheets and your wrestling journalism out there, which I do not like. Trying to catch up of like what has happened. It's kind of like last year. It's deja vu. Well, this guy bit this guy and this guy kicked this guy. It's like, how do we know this? Did any of these people come out and say this? We don't because they haven't, obviously, for legal reasons and shit like that. But for like a whole week, everyone's wondering like, what the fuck happened? And then it's CM Punk has been suspended. Jack Perry's been suspended. Punk's not even going to be at the Chicago weekend of shows, which definitely had my whiskers going up like, oh, spider sense tingling. Something is happening here. That's not just a suspension. And then it comes out, yeah, we fired him right before a Collision in Chicago, right before All Out in Chicago, which I thought was pretty ballsy. You know how scared this guy must have been, more scared doing that than actually getting Punk in his face.
I definitely think there's been issues from management from the top, right from the beginning, with all this whole situation. Like, it's let it get to this point, in my opinion. But I don't think there was another option, really. You had to fire the guy. You can't just go around fighting people that you don't like. Like, if I did this at work, like, okay, there's someone I work with, we don't particularly get along. he often makes drinks not to spec. So then I come in, do my shift, and make the drink to spec, and I get it sent back because it's not what they had before. And it's annoying, and I've had a word with him before. If he were then to go like, and you know, I've made this my way, wink, as like a little dig to me, and I just punched him in the face and choked him out, and then my boss tells me to stop and I lunge at her, I'd be fucking fired.
Right.
I'd have criminal charges against me. Like, this guy's getting paid millions of dollars. Grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
I know it's wrestling, and the thing that, like, the thing that everyone's picking on is Tony Khan saying I was scared for my life. And it's like, obviously we can laugh at that. When I heard him say that, I laughed. I went, I watched Punk's fights in UFC. Come on, man. No, but these are real people. This is not, you don't know these people. Anyone who out there is like, oh, like how this guy's scared for his life. Come on. It's CM Punk. It's like, you weren't there. You don't know what happened.
Monitors falling, like
things happening,
people
right?
going to be in the way.
I know it's wrestling, but it's not real. So these are real people. So if people do fight in real life, it's not 1995 anymore. I know the Undertaker's mad we don't got guns and knives and shit, but it's moved on.
People have grown up.
Yeah,
you know,
because
like they were fucking children back in the day.
Yeah, so when
you know?
like crimes happen backstage, people report that. We know that now in wrestling. We've had speaking out. You don't just get away with shit.
Yeah.
Just because it's wrestling. No. We take people, we hold people accountable for things that they do, and we hold shitty people accountable for the shitty things that they do. And trying to fight people is shitty, especially when you're putting on the biggest show you could possibly fucking do, making history, and yet you're still angry and still wanting to fight people.
And you're trying to put yourself out there as the locker room leader. You know, you're the veteran that come to me if you want advice and all that. And you're behaving this way. The hypocrisy is huge.
You either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain, and that's CM Punk.
And when it comes to that line, that like feared for my life, like that whole speech would have gone through like lawyers. Like every single word would have been meticulously chosen. We know what Punk's like. Punk loves to sue. There's cameras everywhere in Wembley. Like, this whole event is on camera.
It had to be on camera.
Like, to choose to say that and for that to be approved, it must have been pretty bad. Because he didn't have to say that. And, like, that was kind of the, you know, like, the final, like, knife in the back for me. Was like, yeah, he fucked up and put us in danger. And I was scared. And
other people, like, people who work there, production
so
people,
it's funny, because you're looking at Tony, feared for your life. Yeah. But he wouldn't have said that if it wasn't true. And that would have been, you know, approved by... He ain't just going out there and making a speech without it being approved by a bunch of lawyers, you know? Like, which is just nuts.
Yeah, so, like, I'm not even, like... This is not even, like, a picking sides thing, because it's just this guy seems to have issues with everybody. I watched Collision before All Out. There was so many little digs from stars, Moxley, Cassidy, like, all these other wrestlers who were kind of... I can't talk about it, but I'm not talking about the Bucks doing victory laps and Kenny drinking Pepsi and shit. Like, they know what they're doing. But, like, other people are clearly happy this guy's gone. That shows me, like, all these people can't be assholes. It's got to be this guy. Yeah. Since he's come in, he's brought a lot of attention and a lot of fucking money. Not a lot of viewers that they thought, but, like, is it worth it? And clearly they decided...
Ricky Starks promo as well. Yeah. You could read between the lines. Like, he was... It felt like... Remember that Moxley promo we saw in Buffalo? Where he's not completely referencing Punk, but you can read between the lines and just see, like, I'm pissed off. Like, this is what we're talking about. Like, this whole fucking Punk nonsense.
Yeah, so I'm pretty happy that going forward we can definitely move away, but I'm sure it probably won't be the case. I'm sure he'll have some sort of rebuttal. Maybe he'll have, you know, Punk's podcast that he'll go do and talk about. I'm sure the guy wants to get something off his sides, or he should just fucking do what he should have done a year ago and is fucking apologize publicly. Yeah. The apology should always be louder than the fucking crime you committed. And I don't know, this guy, like, I was a fan of this guy. Last year definitely soured me on this. And I've been saying for months on our silly podcast, like, this guy doesn't want to be there. He's a hothead. He's problem. And finally, everyone's realized that and gotten rid of him. The reports of him saying, I want to quit. I'm going to fucking quit. That's probably why they got rid of him. Like, you know what? That's no way to talk. If you don't want to be here, then get the fuck out of here. Your ratings don't bring it in. You're not the NWO.
No.
Sorry. You thought you were, but you're not.
And then, like, reports of this meeting that was going to go ahead, and apparently the Bucks were like, hey, if Punk can behave himself for 6 months, we'll think about it. And because the initial fight was, they went to talk. He's like, you got a problem, come talk with me. They went in with Mega, apparently, and that whole fight broke out. They're like, no, I don't want to, like, show us that you've changed. But instead he's banning Ryan Nemeth from Collision. He's banning Christopher Daniels, the head of talent relations, like, can't even go to one of their shows. Like, it's so pathetic. And I don't blame the Bucks at all for being like, nah, let's see that you've changed your colors, and then we'll have a chat and we'll try and do business.
No, like,
it couldn't last 6 minutes.
You can't
Not
just
6 months.
like, you can't even go off with all these other people that just don't like. I'm sure there's people that like you, but, like, it's just crazy that this has gotten that far, and they had to pull the trigger and actually fire him and make it somewhat of a big deal. Like, hey, we had to go our separate ways because, as you probably heard, he's a problem and is cancerous to everyone else here 100%. And bringing this black cloud of shit. And, like, being somewhat of a devil's advocate is like, was this all like a part of a plan? Was this Jack Perry in the Bucks pocket being like, I got you, boys. I'll be your pawn and I'll fuck around and find out. Yeah, I'll poke the bear and start this fire and see what happens. I'm not speculating this. I'm just saying, like, that is something I have seen people say, like, hey, maybe they did that on purpose. Maybe they want, like, oh, this Punk can't last because he can't even go around not getting in fights with people. So it's just like, there's that side of it. There's that side of Jack Perry's pretty pissed at this guy still. So then
I imagine he was mad because he wasn't picked up at the airport, and
there's reports that Punk wasn't picked up at the airport. He could have just hit us up. We could have got your dad, Johnny Saint, to give him a lift, but that wasn't the case. However, I spent a lot of money on Uber in the UK. I figured out how it works. The tube is pretty easy.
Like, I figured out the subway system in Spain, which was in a different fucking language. I had no issues. This guy can't work out how to get from Heathrow to Wembley or work out how to use Uber.
I'm assuming...
Just get an Uber and then charge the company.
Was it some sort of rib that they were like, let's just fuck around? And maybe that was poking the bear. Maybe the guy was so mad that he showed up to Wembley looking to fight. And that he knew that today is the day I'm going to get fired. Like, I don't know. We don't know. We don't know these people. But... one day there'll be someone saying stuff about it. Like, one day there'll be a dark side of the ring. You know, NDAs aside, who knows? One day we'll find out what really happened. Who did Ace Steel really bite? Who did Jack Perry get choked out by? Like,
so reports coming out as well that whilst he was under contract around January time, was pitching to be in the Royal Rumble, get eliminated by Kevin Owens, and have a match with him at Mania. And WWE didn't really show interest. I mean, he was under contract with AEW as well. I'd find it so funny if he tries to go to WWE and they're just like, nah.
What's he going to do? Go to Impact? Go to New Japan? No. I definitely see him wrestling in New Japan, but...
I see him wanting to wrestle again. I do think he wants to.
He's washed.
I wouldn't say he's washed.
He's good at getting...
He had one of the best matches at All In. Like, I'm going to give the devil his due.
Technically, it wasn't one of the best matches, but I enjoyed the atmosphere of people were booing him. They were angry at him. And we didn't even know he was, fighting again. So it's just funny that, like, people were reacting to him everywhere he went. The fact that Chicago were not really chanting his name showed me that they're kind of like, yeah, he's our boy, but he fucked up.
Like, I just find it so funny if
he went back.
WWE are like, no, we don't need you.
We're going to Philly, right? For Mania?
Yeah.
Punk, Cena, one more time. Main event of night 1. You don't give him night 2. That's Roman's spot. But, like, I see him.
Don't reward him.
I'd see him going. I'd see him trying to go back.
Oh, I think he's going to try and go there. I'd be interested if... I don't think WWE would necessarily want him at this point.
I feel like he'd go there and all of a sudden he'd be like the nicest guy and sell merch and people would rejoice. But it's just...
He should be match 2 on night 1. Never give him that spot.
Sunday Night Heat.
You fucked it, Phil.
Yeah, never give him a WrestleMania main event.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, just... like, so disappointed in these are people when it like they're characters, but they're real people in real life, and we watch them week in and week out. It's like following their stories and their life and careers and everything. And not ever have I been so like disappointed in like a not a character, but like this person that I've watched for so many years, because it's just like, come on, man, like aren't you better than that? Like you're an adult.
It makes me think, like, I remember when all this was happening, I was like, man, this sounds weird, but I miss pandemic AEW. Remember when we used to sit outside and we'd watch AEW on the TV in
Daly's
the garden,
Place.
And we just have those fun shows. Like, it was definitely a highlight of the pandemic for me, because you kind of had the crowd there when everything else was, you know, empty arena. It was fun.
Yeah.
And AEW definitely kind of lost that fun spark after Punk joined. So I'm hoping it comes back.
So far, they kind of have already bouncing back.
Yeah.
I did not expect them to bounce back as fast as they did. Putting on a great show is all you needed to do. It's like in any sport, right? Say you're watching a hockey game and two guys get in a fight in the game, and you watch it, and it's like, guys, come on. I know fighting is great in hockey, but like we've passed that now. Like they're moving away from that. And in the end, it doesn't matter who won that fight. It matters who wins the game. And AEW, right after firing him, put on a fantastic pay-per-view. I thought so. Like,
yeah, I mean,
I didn't expect them to.
I can't remember who said it, but they said All In felt like a season finale, and All Out felt like a season premiere, like a fresh slate.
Yeah,
and I definitely got that. I actually thought the wrestling was better on All Out than All In.
Yeah,
I thought that Ricky Starks Bryan Danielson match was awesome, and Ricky's really stepped up, and I think he's someone that Collision has helped. You know, feels a bigger star. I think his promos have been good. I think he's getting that presence, and his wrestling's backing it up. Like, Meltzer gave that one a 5-star. I thoroughly enjoyed that match.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the later half of that pay-per-view. The meat match. Just everything. But like seeing them still kind of, you know, pop off. And again, that crowd, I tuned in thinking, oh, they're going to be eaten alive here. And that wasn't the case. So I was pretty happy with that. And Chicago, you know, you got other wrestlers. You got Sky Blue, new Second City Saint, Sky Blue. What are people from Chicago's personalities going to be now that they can't be a CM? That's all they got.
I know.
Deep dish and CM Punk.
Yeah.
What are they going to do now? What are they going to do?
Yeah, got to go for Sky Blue.
I texted Scrump. He said he's going to start watching WWE again.
Oh,
right. It's just interesting, and maybe this is the end. Maybe that was the last time CM Punk wrestled at All In, and that was his goodbye. But I don't really think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
What else did you like on All Out?
Yeah, All Out was awesome. I did say the second half of the show was good. The first half felt like a Dynamite Collision Rampage, but then it did creep up and I got really into it. I mentioned the meat match, the two big meaty men slapping meat was fantastic, and the crowd really helped make that one as well.
The debut of the mysterious woman.
Yes, the flexible and hot woman.
Hot, flexible wife.
Yeah, hot, flexible wife. I really got into it. I thought the Hangman stuff is weird. It's like you're booking this clearly to just remind people, hey, this guy's a good guy. Yeah. Remember, this guy's pretty nice. So
I think the fact that Hangman has very much stayed out of everything,
all the drama, all the
fact that Punk repeatedly has been calling him out, which is again fucking hypocritical. You're gonna lose your shit over this is real glass, cry me a river, yet you're going out going, Hangman Page is a peg warmer, literally name dropping people, counterfeit bucks, and you fucking lose your shit over quoting Justin Timberlake. Grow the fuck up.
He's just not a fan of Timberlake.
Yeah, I do think that's maybe endeared Hangman to people, that he's very much stayed out of it. He hasn't given any receipts back this whole time, just kind of kept his head down and doing his thing.
And like, I know Punk's got his fan base, but Punk's been doing this for a long time. He's been on WWE TV for years.
Yeah.
Hangman has not. He's only been on TV for 4 years.
Yeah.
And just again, me watching, like, Hangman's got to be one of the nicest guys there. At least he's good at acting.
That way,
like he seems so genuine, and they re-brought it up. They reminded us that, like, hey, this guy used to be a teacher for kids. And here he is winning this battle royal. I think that was all set up just to be like, hey, look, he's going to donate to Chicago.
Chicago as well.
That had to be the rib
Yeah.
there, of course. Like, there's no way they go, so which one do you want to give to? No, it's fucking fake. They're going to
not doing West Virginia
Yeah.
school county. It's like, no, Chicago
Yeah.
schools. Like,
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting and pretty funny, and hopefully a bit of a reset there of where Hangman can be, as we'll get into from like the
Dynamite,
TV. Yeah, but going back to All Out, yeah, I loved Better Than You, Baby, as a tag team. I love them at All In. The kangaroo kick, the double clotheslines,
just
all that shit.
everything they do is
Yeah.
over, you know?
MJF is pretty smart at getting things popular,
100%.
so definitely been loving his run here with Adam Cole. Samoa Joe and Shane Taylor. I'm happy that Shane Taylor got some like time, but I don't think putting him on a AEW pay-per-view was the right move there.
I 100% agree.
I do not care about Ring of Honor.
I've seen him in Ring of Honor stuff. The guy's good, but he's not even had a Dynamite matches.
Exactly. So why put him in
Absolutely
that?
should not be in that position.
And why was this match announced way before like All In matches were announced? It's so
bizarre,
stupid.
yeah.
Same with Luchasaurus and Darby Allin. Like I thought it was all right. It was pretty good, but like why was this the only match we knew for fucking 2 months?
I will give them credit. I think this was one they did a good job of simultaneously building both All In and All Out with Darby, and the actual AR Fox being pulled made this make so much more sense with Christian being with Swerve at All In.
Yeah.
I thought that. And that's what they need to try and do more of for next year. Try and have connecting
dots, yeah.
feuds and stuff. I thought it was good. I like the story they've been telling with Darby's back, that he's finally sort of breaking down.
Especially after this week.
I just have thoroughly been enjoying, Christian.
Christian is just
so
he's been shown that he's a huge meme now, and he is riding that wave so hard. The press conference after, like, hey, how's everyone's dad's doing? Like, he knows it's working for him.
100%.
And it's so funny because like Edge came back and turned heel and would cut 30-minute promos about how he's evil and everything, and Christian would just be like, lol, your dad's dead, and get a way bigger reaction. I'm wondering if we do get Edge in AEW. I don't know what the fuck we call him. Sexton Hardcastle, I guess. But like, I saw some digging. Edge has defeated Buddy Wayne in a house show years ago. Do you see this?
Yeah.
There's a way to connect all this somehow, some way. What would you call Edge? Sexton?
I think just Adam Copeland.
Adam Copeland?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that makes more sense.
Yeah.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah.
I just really love Sexton
Sexton
Hardcastle.
Hardcastle.
My first radio name, first project when we got on the radio station at school in college was you have to do a show with a whole fake like name and persona, and right away I was like Sexton Hardcastle, and no one knew what it was until someone went, wait a second.
You could also go back. Remember, like when they debuted together, they were billed as brothers.
Yeah.
Call him Edge Cage.
Edge Cage. Adam Copeland. Yeah, I do kind of see him going there now.
Yeah,
possibly. And Mercedes. That's
we
lost Punk and we picked up 2 others.
I think Punk going. It's definitely raised their stock. I also, Punk going also gave us Europe again at All Out.
Yeah, we got some funds freed up
Tony's
here.
like, oh, I've got all this money.
Final countdown.
Let's do Final Countdown again.
Absolutely. I was like, wait a second, Danielson, you were fine to come back for All Out, but you were not fine last week. Like,
I know,
fuck, man.
I know, that was disappointing.
Yeah, I do think Danielson is ending his career, at least in ring or something, next year at All In. I would imagine it's against McGuinness. Like, that's a big way to go out. If McGuinness has been gearing up for this All In, and then he was on commentary.
Yeah, he did say when Danielson came out, he was for Ricky Starks, he was like, oh, now he's healthy, kind of being like, fuck, I wanted that match.
Yeah, All Out also had Miro and Hobbs. We mentioned the meat match. That was pretty good. Statlander beat Ruby. I got into it, but it didn't get up to like the next. Yeah. Bryan Danielson and Ricky Starks. I am not a huge Ricky Starks fan, but after watching this match, I see the vision. Like, I've always been a fan of his promos. It's been his wrestling that's been kind of boring to me. He does a lot of other people's stuff that I'm just like, where's your move? I know he's got the Rochambeau, but like, he does a lot of other people's stuff. In this, I thought he went toe to toe with the Dragon.
I think he's really stepping up.
He did. That's the thing. He is evolving and going to that next level, and that's just what's been missing for me from him. And now he's there, and I kind of want this feud to continue, as it looks like it will be, because I don't know how, because like this match was so violent. Like I don't know what's the next step. What's the next step for these two? A cage match? Like
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Blackpool Combat Club fought Eddie Kingston and Shibata. That was all right. It had some good moments in it for
okay,
sure.
yeah.
It wasn't bad or anything, but was kind of there.
it's just still fun seeing Shibata, I think.
Very
you
cool.
know?
And teaming with Kingston, yeah. I loved how they murdered Wheeler Yuta.
Yeah.
As always. He's just the fall guy.
100%.
Konosuke Takeshita defeated Kenny Omega 2 weeks in a row. He pinned him.
This was awesome.
Yeah.
Wish it was at Wembley. Takeshita's just fantastic.
This
and
evil man Takeshita.
Kenny in singles matches. We want more of that, please.
Yeah, let's get a prayer circle of just Kenny Omega does not have years left, and let's get all the matches out the way now. Him losing, I kind of am surprised, but also like really for it. It helped make Takeshita. The only problem is Takeshita then goes like, "Oh, I want to be TNT champion." It's like, no, you just beat Kenny Omega. You should be like, "Yo, fucking MJF, where you at? Fucking this." Like that's where it should be. So I can still criticize how they're booking that, because if someone beats Kenny in a singles match, he should be going to the next thing,
level,
if not continuing the feud. I imagine Kenny comes back and wants a rematch at some, maybe Wrestle Dream.
We'll get a rematch, yeah.
Yeah, I really love this match, and I do think they can get even more violent in it. So Takeshita definitely stepping up. You knew it would deliver. You knew it would. So pretty happy about that. Bullet Club Gold teaming up. Going against FTR and the Bucks teaming up, which was quite odd. This is definitely when the Bucks, some of the CM Punk chants came out.
Yeah, this was fun because of the crowd and stuff, and I have really been enjoying Bullet Club Gold with what they've been doing. I think they're really working, and
For sure.
Again, it's something that having Collision has helped these guys. I think instead of having a crowded Dynamite, you make it their show, you make it Ricky Stark's show, that kind of thing. I was kind of half expecting the Bucks to just like super kick FTR and have maybe even join Bullet Club down the line.
Wow.
They've been in it before.
Yeah.
I think the Bucks are people that need a bit of a fresh coat of paint. I'm kind of getting that New Day vibe with them, where it's like you've been the same for a long
I feel
time
like
now.
though, I feel like they're kind of like, hey, we want to cool off, but it's like, who else can we book in these spots? Like for All In, what would have been the tag match? You can't do that.
No, that was fun. I get this sense, and it comes across on TV, that they're a bit unmotivated at the moment. I really didn't like that sit-down promo between them and FTR. They just didn't seem to want to be there. And it's for a while, like, we've seen in interviews with Cody about how he said, yeah, I made mistakes in AEW. I should have been the guy, and I was being a bit too generous, putting people over. I think Kenny and the Bucks are guilty of that a lot of the time. And I think maybe them joining the Bullet Club would be a bit more interesting.
Interesting. I don't know if that they would be the ones to put, because there's a few different guys. You're like, oh, I'm wondering if he become, because you imagine Jay White's like their leader, right?
Yeah.
But like they could, it just start getting silly if you start putting people in it, I guess. But yeah, the Bucks could definitely like take a seat back even in that case and let FTR is going to do this open challenge and stuff. But I was expecting them to like turn heel. But now with Punk gone, I don't know. It's a little messy, but I guess we'll have to tune in to kind of see, because there really isn't any other tag teams ready for that big slot against FTR, and we might get there, but
until we get Edge and Christian
versus FTR, that probably is the Edge going to come in and Christian just turns babyface.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, like that's
Edge just goes, Christian, you've got a dad too, remember? He's like, fuck, what have I been? I've been an asshole.
Yeah, maybe that happened. Or Edge goes, hey, I know he's a bad guy, he's a dick, but like, I want to fight you guys, and he's my brother. So.
Yeah.
Or Nick Wayne and Edge.
Yeah, sure.
And then we had Moxley and Orange Cassidy in the main event, and that was awesome as well. Orange Cassidy becoming Blood Orange Cassidy by the end of it.
He's been so good. I loved his promo leading into this show. I think the story of his just injuries mounting up, how he's been just wrestling week in, week out, and then eventually it's someone like Mox who had to basically kill him to take this thing off of him. I thought it was such a good main event, and despite not having the World Championship on this show, I think they've definitely elevated this title to be the number 2 title.
The IC
it's ahead
title
of the TNT title now.
Oh
me.
yeah, absolutely.
And putting it on someone like Mox, it's going to be interesting to see him run with it. But Orange Cassidy, Chris Jones in the chat has said that he's he thinks he's a contender to dethrone MJF. I completely see that. Chris Elliott saying Cassidy is his wrestler of the year for this year, which I wouldn't disagree with. He's been just consistently putting on fantastic matches, and just his whole character makes so much sense for me.
Yeah.
It's not just this silly gimmick indie guy with hands in his pockets. It's, you know, him trying to fuck with his opponents, him showing that he is motivated, he wants to win, but this is like his game plan and stuff. I've loved this Orange Cassidy story right from him winning this title from Pac way back when.
I mean, think back to his like debut. It was Pac, right? With that match that everyone went, oh wow, wait a second, it's not just some silly gimmick. It's like the guy can actually go. And seeing him over these past few years, he's become like this like homegrown AEW like star. One of them. He's similar to MJF. Like MJF was not a household name before AEW, but now he is, and the same with Orange Cassidy. And I see like mixed reactions even from just some of our friends who are like, oh, Orange Cassidy's like a good mid-card guy. And I always feel that way. And then I watch his Dynamite matches and it's match of the night, like constantly.
I see him as a world champion.
Yeah, he will be world champion in AEW one day. Is he the guy to beat MJF? I don't know if that's the right move, but let the guy rest up right now.
If MJF turns heel again, I can see it.
It would certainly make for some great hope spots and a whole program there. But Orange has definitely stepped up in his matches, and it's not just character. Like his matches are awesome, and people are dressing up as him. I see his shirts in public. Like he's popular for this company is one of their guys, and I thought that match was awesome. Mox basically praying before he murders him. He's like, "I'm so sorry, God, I gotta kill him.
I gotta do this." And that final Death Rider
killed him.
Nasty.
Yeah, love that match. But what a pay-per-view, really. Like
really good.
It had some great matches and some classics. I would say the strap match or the Takeshita Omega were I couldn't pick between the two of them. So
those two and the main.
Yeah,
I think that all three of them were really, really good matches.
Yeah.
And then we had a really refreshing Dynamite, I thought. I thoroughly enjoyed Dynamite this week. It took a step back from the wrestling a bit, but just, I think, kind of, reshuffled the deck and seemed to have focus, which I think AEW sorely lacked in the over a year now. Like, it's been a while.
It's been since Brawl Out, honestly. Yeah. Since the Punk thing, it's been this way. And I think now we can, like, just focus on, like, the good shit and not focus on backstage dramas and this and that. I'm sure that there is backstage dramas at AEW that don't involve CM Punk, but like I think that black cloud has kind of drifted on over now. It's a whole new
hope as well. It's like if they can fire Punk, they can fire me.
Yeah.
And should be the attitude people have where maybe let's all grow up here and do business.
Let's make money and make great entertainment.
Exactly.
So I think they'll be going on great. They announced this new pay-per-view, Wrestle Dream, which already is looking good from watching Collision yesterday. Yeah. Bryan Danielson, who's back in full gear. They've photoshopped out Punk, and the Collider is the dragon now, right? Can we still say Colliders?
Let's never say Colliders.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Danielson just easily slotting into this position, and Danielson thrives when Punk leaves. We've seen it in Ring of Honor, in WWE, and AEW. So fuck yeah.
Finally getting the Zack match that we were meant to have at Forbidden Door 1. Right away has my interest for this show.
They're learning from their mistakes. Oh wait, Grand Slam isn't moving tickets and it's in a few weeks. Better announce some matches. Yeah. Eddie Kingston and Claudio. So like book things that people want to
Eddie
go
Kingston making clear, hey,
buy tickets.
Sell tickets, buy tickets. Yeah. Tony, do your job. Sell more tickets to this thing.
Yeah. Which I also imagine is Samoa Joe versus MJF at Arthur Ashe.
Well, I think you could go either way because we've got the Roddy Strong MJF story going on as well. And with you having Grand Slam and Wrestle Dream coming up, you could do it either or. You could do Roddy at Grand Slam and Joe at the pay-per-view. Because I think the Joe match feels a bit bigger. You could have something, something screwy. So whoever loses the main event of this title eliminator tournament has a gripe and a a right to kind of go for the title.
Sure.
I can see us having both those matches over the next two big events we got.
Right. Okay. Because I feel like Joe MJF is Arthur Ashe worthy. It's weird. It's kind of like,
But isn't the pay-per-view bigger?
The pay-per-view's bigger, but it's in a smaller venue.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's like all in and all out. Yeah. Again, you're doing it again, Tony. You're doing the big stadium and then a pay-per-view that's also like smaller and won't have as many people. So it is, or eyes on it, because less viewers. Obviously, you get pay-per-view buys, but there are less people watching that than the TV show. So it is kind of all over. I love Roddy, but like, is that necessarily the stadium main event, right? Like,
that's Yeah, I don't know.
Adam. As much as I love him and his renders lately of him in the neck braces, and oh my god, I hate AEW t-shirts, but like I think I might have to buy it. Neck strong.
I do find it funny, all these people that clearly didn't watch NXT because they're like, oh, this new Roddy Strong character is fantastic. It's not new. This is exactly what he was doing with the Creeds.
He's just angry and he wears a neck brace.
And just wants friends to just be with him and have no other friends.
Big brute.
And just, I can't remember who on Twitter said it, but it's like him just embracing being completely and utterly pathetic.
Yeah, it's good.
It's so entertaining.
He's making a great
He's never
character.
been cool. Like we've always joked about him being like the lame jock of Undisputed Era, and just embracing his lameness works wonders for this character.
Love it so much. Yeah, I've been loving that. I would like to see Roddy versus MJF, but like I don't know, is that stadium main event worthy? Maybe there's a bigger match that's the main event. Maybe Claudio Eddie's the main event of that, and they do eventually go to Joe MJF, because I think also they've been doing a great job of just having him shove him. If half the people who watched that didn't understand what that was, that's still Samoa Joe just shoving Max, and you're like, oh, okay, wait a second, that would be a good match. And then obviously they can't play the clip, but to then have them like explain things, even to non-hardcores, you go, wait a second, Joe MJF could be pretty good. You don't need to know all that, but then when you do know all that, it's like you're in on it. Like, oh shit.
I think something AEW's been doing quite well across the board are these sort of injury stories as well. Darby's back, and then having that against Roderick Strong, who's the messiah of the backbreaker. Roddy and MJF's neck are both fucked at the moment, and both potentially having matches with Samoa Joe, whose main move is the Muscle Buster, which all comes down on the neck. I think that's been quite good job, and obviously the stuff with Orange Cassidy with just the mounting injuries.
Yeah.
Because we do see these guys work week in, week out, and it feels like that G1 storytelling where it's like, fuck, it's like my body's breaking down from wrestling so much.
Yeah.
It's a bit more believable.
I loved the two shows from the week before, but then like to have to go off of Tony Khan's like crippling promo where he's basically crying and telling Chicago, hey, I had to fire this guy. That sucked because he had to do that. I don't know if he had to, but he did.
Good for him, though.
Like good for him doing it. But
he definitely took the bullet for Ricky Starks opening the show. I think it kind of soften the blow for the rest of the people on that roster.
It stopped a lot of more Punk chants
100%.
for the next night as well, I'm assuming. But I have to like give them credit, and it's going to still be hard for them because it's not just like, hey, we did an 80,000 seats stadium show, and now when we go back to the States, everything's going to be okay and peaches and cream and sold out shows. No, because you guys are still struggling filling things, and I think they got to learn different ways to work that way, and announcing matches week before isn't the way to go sometimes because sometimes people can't afford it. But if you tell someone, hey, but you get to see these matches, maybe that changes their mind.
Yeah.
And people buy tickets.
Hangman Swerve. Swerve has just been, we've been watching this guy for a long time, and he's just been fantastic. And
Killshot
his
versus the
promo
Buckshot
against Hangman was great. I think it's refocused Hangman in a singles feud, which this guy should be. He was the main character of AEW for the first few years until Dickhead came along.
Fucking CM Punk.
Yeah, so I think refocusing him is great. The line about if I had as many shots as you had, I'd be the first black AEW champion was fantastic.
I loved it. I loved a lot of white people online saying it was a stupid line.
Yeah, well,
I loved it. I love that promo about it.
I thought the segment was great, and like diving back into Hangman's insecurities with himself, like Swerve pointing out, you've been just like doing nothing. You've been in 6-mans and stuff the last while. Like, what are you doing? Step up. I think that feud's going to be great. I think it's time where we got to start booking stars against each other. And
Sure.
I think maybe it's a hangover from the pandemic, because I think to start with, they were always booking the big names against each other. You were having your, you know, Jericho, Cody's, Kenny, Moxley, all that. And then pandemic happened and it was empty arenas, and it definitely felt, let's hold off on some of these matches until we have crowds back. We've had crowds back for a long time now. We should be having your big names against each other. And I think Swerve Hangman is a good start.
Swerve is definitely stepping up. I mean, I'm super big fan of him, and his promo kind of had some truth to it. It's like, hey, I never got like that big push. Like, what, WWE got rid of him, right?
Yeah.
Like the second he was hot, WWE kind of pulled the rug underneath, and which is a shame. I'm sure Triple H would have liked to have him in WWE.
Yeah. I
I think he could have been a big deal in WWE. He could still be one day a big deal there. He was not the problem of Hit Row. Clearly, he's the one who actually wrestles, who comes across pretty menacing in his promo, but
He's scary.
yeah, and he had a lot of like he weaved in like reality and wrestling in real life, being basically saying like, hey, you were the main character here, and you know, I didn't get those opportunities, which I really liked, and kind of freaking out Hangman. And I imagine this isn't a TV program. I imagine this is
I can see it
pay-per-view.
being a series.
Yeah.
I think they'll have a couple.
Maybe at Grand Slam and
Yeah,
Wrestle
I
Dream.
could see so.
Uh,
Full Gear, maybe.
big, what's his name? The Machine, Brian Cage attacking Hangman. We get that match next week, which is a
Which they had
rematch.
some good matches.
Yeah,
in
they
the past. Yeah.
they reminded us like, hey, they had a little bit
It
of a
was
feud.
all out a couple of years ago, maybe.
It was pretty good, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, it feels like Punk's left the building and Hangman's back in.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
I also could just watch Prince Nana dance.
Whew.
On
Oh
loop.
yeah. Oh nah
So
nah.
good. So
What's
good.
my name? Yeah, I
Um,
love that.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about that feud moving forward, and both elevating to, you know, a proper top position again.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that match. I'm sure they will absolutely bang. And if they have a match, like they have a singles match and then they have a rematch, which is like no holds barred. I know both those guys know how to go pretty ham and
Oh,
those,
yeah.
like no DQ matches and stuff. So would be
Texas Death.
would
something like that.
totally be into this feud. So already off to a good start. I actually really enjoyed that. And I enjoyed, like you said, the wrestling wasn't so much the focus, but that's okay because now we can look forward to stuff and tune
Yeah.
into stuff. And MJF and the Joe explaining the whole shove and MJF riffing on him. The ice cream truck line was fantastic. And two great promos on the same show, basically, that wasn't wrestling, is hyping up some wrestling for the next little while. So I thought they did a good job.
We've had, Jericho, Sammy Guevara announced for Grand Slam. Can't say I'm completely into this feud, but could be a good match.
Honestly, like I'm really happy that they're getting this match. It's cool that it's at Arthur Ashe. Obviously, Jericho's in the good books of TK, so he's getting the big stadium matches. But I actually really like it. I think Sammy's a fantastic wrestler, and I think we'll bring the best of Jericho out yet again, especially after the Ospreay match. I think this should lead to somehow getting to Guevara versus Ospreay. I don't know how, because that would just
That would
blow
be
our
nuts,
minds.
yeah.
At Wrestle Dream maybe, but I just don't understand how they win a match and then they're mad at each other. So I just didn't get that.
Yeah,
So
I'm the same.
yeah, okay. So I might be like
Was
on
it
my
Jericho stole the win? Was that what it was? I'm
And
trying
that's
to
why he was
remember.
mad?
I think so, yeah.
okay. Yeah.
But a bit weird.
It will probably surprise a lot of people at Grand. So I'm not too down on it like most.
No, yeah, I really enjoyed this week's Collision and Dynamite. Just felt so much more focused than
Yeah.
it's been. Jade Cargill returning, I think, is a good thing. I do think she's been missed. She definitely does have that star presence, and
Sure.
going right after Statlander again, who took a title. I'm kind of for that. I'm glad Cargill's back.
Yeah, that was last night on Collision, right? Also on Collision, we mentioned Danielson calling out Zack Sabre Jr. That is official now.
Yeah.
So super excited for that. You already have my attention for that whole pay-per-view.
100%.
So everyone will be watching for that one. And I'm sure Zack Sabre Jr. will gain some new fans from that as well. I'm trying to think what else we had. No Jay White. They announced this crazy looking like lucha almost dream match. The guns are in it, so I'll use that word treading lightly. But they announced Drago. They don't call him that though,
No.
right? What the fuck? They call him something else. I'm assuming that's issues with CMLL or
Yeah.
AAA or something like that. But then Jay White is sick or something, so they pull him. They had Card Blade, which I'm a huge fan.
Card Blade's great. We need it.
We
need it with Kyrie.
We got Kyrie card. We have a Kyrie cut out here. Shout out Scrump. But we need a Card Blade now, which they should right away be selling.
Oh, absolutely.
You see Don.
It's the smile on his face.
Yeah. But it's funny because they've been walking around with it when he's not there. But he was sick last night, so they just made it a 6-man tag. But they do his entrance with him in the middle with
so
the
good.
pose. So funny. So I was a little down on that match. It
didn't hit like I thought it would.
Yeah, but maybe it's because last second they had to change things or whatever. But hoping to see more of Drago in.
And Aerostar.
Yeah, not so much gravity.
Not so much gravity. No,
he's kind of annoying me already. But yeah. And then I forget. Oh yeah, sorry. So then like the Darby Roddy match was pretty good with Darby's back getting all fucked up.
I see Nick Wayne turning on Darby.
Whoa!
I think and joining Christian and Luchasaurus.
That would be insane then.
Because I think you've played up the stuff with Nick Wayne and being rightfully pissed off at AR Fox. You tried to murder me a couple of weeks ago and crash my dad's gym, my dead dad's gym.
Right.
And Darby's like, but we all make mistakes. Like, I think Nick Wayne is, young and kind of a bit bland. Like, he's good in ring.
Yeah, he doesn't have any character.
I don't think he should be main eventing Dynamites at this point.
Yeah, it was all right. It wasn't necessarily the highlight of the show.
Open the show with that. Yeah. Great. I don't think it was a closing match. And I think put Nick Wayne with Christian and the Dragon.
An Edge,
sure.
The history there, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned so possibly, but yeah, I like Nick Wayne. He's young, but so he'll definitely have a huge career. But to put him in that slot, it wasn't as like the crowd didn't react either as much as some of the other stuff on the show on Dynamite. But still, solid 2 shows this week from Dynamite and Collision, and having Danielson in that slot really helps. I thought it helped the week prior with the whole him surprise coming back. No one watched it because no one watches Collision, but so I watched it the day after. But
I imagine a lot do like watch the next day, DVR, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because it's like it is in a weird way. Like a few weeks now into it being a show, it's going to change now with no Punk and stuff, but. It is being like, oh, what's going on before you go out on a Saturday? Oh, throw on like because we're so used to pay-per-views, UFC, sporting events. There's always something going on. So it is changing my mind of like, if there's still content, and that's why there's that show.
I mean, I work and you often work on a Saturday, but as someone who isn't particularly interested in sport, like I would totally watch Collision before going, or at least watch the first hour while I'm getting ready and going out, that sort of thing.
And it's always there for you. So it's like, oh, you could just like tune in on a Sunday.
It's a network decision. Like I think the show is going to get better now Punk's gone. Because I think we can have a bit more synergy between Dynamite and Collision. We've seen from last night, it's not just Rampage. There is storytelling. There is story advancement. You do have to watch it to know what's going on. Like you will tune into Dynamite and be like, oh, you missed this, this, and this. Rampage, you missed a pretty good match. Yeah. That's kind of what Rampage is. Yeah. Which is fine now.
Is that still on TV?
It is, yeah.
Right. Well, Rampage and Collision Collision's not on TV here.
No.
So we can't even watch it. I have to use other means.
Fight VPN.
That is true,
Yeah. Did you see this whole Santana Ortiz back and forth?
Yeah, at first I'm like, is this guy like going off on himself here, shooting his shot? And now I'm just thinking it's an angle, but good for them. I'm hoping it is. If it's not, then I'm pretty upset.
I do think it's a work because this was a produced video by AEW where Santana is going like,
I want to be on my own.
I want to be on my own. No one's holding me back. Blah blah blah. And Ortiz sort of shooting back at him on Twitter, and him and Santana going back and forth. Like, you didn't call, you didn't write, all that sort of stuff.
Right.
The problem is the timing of this. Like, right off the back of the whole Punk stuff, I don't know if it's good timing to be doing angles on Twitter.
Right.
Because I think there is still that black cloud. And you look at that tweet, and I don't think right away you necessarily go, oh, they're working. You go, fuck, there's another issue in the backstage AEW. Right? No. And especially where, if you are like a dirt sheet reader, there have been these talks for quite a long time of Santana and Ortiz not being on the same page. Ortiz kind of being fine with being a tag team wrestler and Santana wanting to break solo, and there being a bit of tension between the two. We've heard about that for quite a while. Santana coming back and being Mike Santana to try and kind of make him not be Santana from Santana and Ortiz, but his own person. So I do think it's a work. I think it's leading to a match between these two, but I don't know if timing's right to do it this style.
Yeah, fair enough. I can see that they're trying to take something that maybe was dirt sheet stuff and trying to use it, but you're right. Like, can we not maybe just wait a little bit, clear out some of this dirty shit before we go into more? Like, trying to blur the lines is great in wrestling, but we're literally coming off the back of some of the worst shit that we are finally breaking free of. So it is kind of odd timing.
I do think as well, you mentioned earlier, like, who else is there in the tag division? I think these guys haven't had
they didn't even win the titles.
And they 100% should. And I think this would be, I like Santana. I think he's a good promo. I think he's a good wrestler. I think he's going to get so lost in the shuffle with this roster right now.
Agree.
I think going to an Impact, he could be a top singles guy or something like that in a different company. I don't see it in this sea of just talented wrestlers.
Yeah. How do I prove I'm not just a tag team wrestler? My name's Santana. All right, I got it. Mike Santana.
And like, good for him. You're betting on yourself. Like, you shouldn't be complacent with your position, and you should be striving for something better. But realistically, I think tag title run is huge, their ceiling, and would be good.
Huge fan of them. Always been a fan of them. LAX, bro. But like, you weren't on TV for a year, and you got the all-in slot. Not really fair to a lot of other people. You are put in huge spots for a long time, for years now on this show, and you are an over unit. They've never been tag team champions, which I think an FTR Proud and Powerful storyline in the next few months would have been awesome. Instead, we got this video where instantly I don't think it will work the way I think Mike Santana is thinking it's going to. He already sounds like every other bad guy heel turn that they've had already, and Ortiz has got a nice hat. So I mean, like, really, it
is a nice hat.
It is Indiana Ortiz right there, but I don't know. He could use that one. I don't know. I think it's gonna backfire on him.
I do too.
Unfortunately, as much as I really love them as a team. So, kind of like complaining, oh, I'm never getting these opportunities. Yeah, you got someone else's opportunity by being put in Wembley. You got opportunities by being put in lots of matches. So I'm not necessarily
to be fair though, I felt that Stadium Stampede match felt like an AEW original match, which he 100% is.
Absolutely.
And like, it wasn't like he was off TV dossing around. He had a serious injury.
Sure, yeah.
So like, I kind of do, and you had the tie-in with, best friends with Santana Ortiz, all that. There was a lot of different history into why to make that match, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I again, big fan of them, but I'm just like, do we need this feud right now between the two of them where we could have just used them as a tag team and potentially beat FTR for the titles, which could be like a huge thing. Fuck, you just saw WWE go to Puerto Rico. Let's book a fucking huge Puerto Rico show and have that as the main event. Yeah. Like, instead now you're just going to be wrestling on Rampage and fighting Serpentico and beating him and being like, oh, now I wish I didn't run my mouth because I'm not being booked on pay-per-views as much. I'm just saying, I could be completely wrong. He could be amazing and change everything, but from what I've seen, he's great, but I just don't know if he will be lost in the shuffle.
Is that it for AEW this week?
I think so. I mean, there's a lot of talk because they've clearly been
a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, there's been a lot to catch up on and just a lot going on with AEW in good ways and bad ways, but I think now it's been a hard reset of them going forward. I feel like it's reinvigorated my love for it. I was so tired of the CM Punk shit going on. I could care less about this guy. Let's worry about him when he's in WWE and Survivor Series in a few months. Him and AJ Lee will show up because she's just left Women of Wrestling. So
really?
There you go. Maybe they show up as a couple and that's his way in to get
I just love Triple H to laugh. Be like, no, you're a dick, and we've got good shit going on right now.
So what, are we going to get Punk beating EC3?
Go
for
to
the NWA?
Yeah, win that title, you loser.
Yeah.
Well, I caught a little bit of WWE this week, mainly, which thankfully WWE uploaded the full match without the ad break, so you saw the whole thing. Gunther versus Chad Gable from this week's Raw.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have not watched Raw in a while, but I had to check this out. Gunther has been on quite a run, and he's beaten some records. He's broken some records. We didn't get the honkometer, which was the one that we could have had him fight Santino like 2 weeks ago, and then the honkometer gets brought up or whatever. But he has beaten Honky Tonk's record. Honky Tonk that's the only thing he had going for him. So I know he's pretty pissed. But Gunther is officially the longest reigning IC champ of all time, which is crazy. And to make us believe that possibly he could lose it right before the streak was broken, it was even better.
Which is something they could have done. I think there is that thing where this honky tonk streak has been record has been there for 35 years, where they might just want to go, let's just leave it. That is history. It's 35. It's honky tonk, the longest reigning. So there was that doubt in your mind going into it, which I think added to this match.
For sure.
Like, this is one of the best, 12-minute matches I've ever seen, I think.
One of the best Raw main events in quite a long time.
It was so good. I think Chad Gable, realizing how people that figure out how to get around the WWE system. We've seen it with Sami Zayn. We've seen it with Bryan Danielson. We've seen it now with Chad Gable. We know their wrestling is fantastic, but in WWE, you need more than that to get over. His whole shoosh thing, the silly stuff with Alpha Academy, they've been such a highlight in that tag division in the mid card for a couple of years now, and the shoosh thing got over, and now it's afforded him the opportunities to be put in these main events where people go, wow, this guy can wrestle as
pretty
well.
good.
I think of that the WrestleMania sort of multi-tag match where he's doing the Chaos Theory on Braun Strowman, and people are like, whoa, that's impressive. And now built up where he's this more serious wrestler. He says in that promo, it's dropping the silly shit, I'm here to wrestle, and he's earned that. And I don't think this is the end of we're seeing of this feud. I would hope they get a 20-minute pay-per-view match now at this point, where maybe Gable takes it. Now that record's broken, I think you can afford Gunther to lose, and I think Gunther could be a prime candidate to win the Rumble this year.
Yeah, I think Gunther is winning the Rumble. I think we're having Gunther and Cody at the end of the Rumble again, and
I would love that.
Yeah,
I think,
and then Gunther just goes, "No, I don't want Roman. I want Seth, or whatever." Right, and
which would be great.
Yeah, which would be a huge WrestleMania match. But really loved Gable and Gunther. Gable, we've watched in NXT. He even got Gable. What is it? Ready, Willing, and Gable. That was one of the most over things in NXT. Alpha Academy. Sorry, that's what the American Alpha was awesome. Yeah, so I really love
Jason Jordan producing this.
And the moment after,
cool,
which is really nice. But the wrestling was great. Gunther is such a great base for this. He's a smaller dude, Gable, but the wrestling there, and Michael Cole really hitting over the head. This guy was in the Olympics, the Pan Am Games.
Finally, not Shorty G.
Yeah.
Or this shit.
Exactly.
But again, he sucked it up. He played that gimmick, and he's earned this. And I think Gunther is at his best when he's against smaller guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Think Ilya, think Tyler Bate, think Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
And now Chad Gable. It's when he's his best, and they're presenting it. He hasn't been watered down at all on main roster WWE. He's still,
in fact,
still Walter.
My critiques of when they changed his name was you're just gonna turn him into a WWE product, but instead they've added to it. Before, he didn't have the pomp and circumstance of Ludwig doing the whole spiel, and I don't know how he takes off his jacket that nice, but he they didn't take anything away. They just helped out things that he didn't have before and made him seem even more epic. And clearly the guy
Gunther just seems normal now.
Yeah, it's completely fine. I'm over it. It's fine, and he's jacked. And he took this seriously. I don't understand a lot of people who get these opportunities and then they just take the paychecks and don't really care. This guy cares about the wrestling. And man, love this match so much. These guys were killing each other. The suplexes, even Gunther was getting worried. He's like, oh, my moves I can't keep him down. He had to do all the different finishers and stuff. I loved it so much. And to make it even better is Gable's kids crying in the front row.
It added to it so much.
At least they weren't crying kids on my flight. They were just crying kids front row at a wrestling event.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
loved it. It was great. Let's run this back on Fastlane.
Is that the next one?
I think it's
Roadblock? Fastlane.
Fastlane, I think.
Yeah.
And give them time. This could maybe add a step to it. Do a 2 out of 3 falls or something.
Please do a 2 out of 3 falls.
30-minute Iron Man, something like that. Because these two on pay-per-view are gonna deliver. I think this is one of the best TV matches. I think there's an argument for Gunther being one of the wrestlers of the year. He's kind of the Orange Cassidy of WWE right now, putting on just weekly great TV matches.
I would love to see a 2 out of 3 falls at the pay-per-view. It is Fastlane, or even a Iron Man match.
Yeah.
Like 30-minute, right?
Yeah.
That would be pretty crazy too. I loved some of the stuff on Payback. I watched that with my brother the other week. We had a wedding, and then I came back. I was like, oh, Payback's on. So we watched that. And Trish versus Becky was awesome.
Oh,
Am I crazy? That was fantastic.
Trish has been so good in this run, I think.
I
way,
loved it.
Way better than any of her kind of comebacks we've seen.
Absolutely.
She looks so motivated. She wants to hang with this new crop of talent. This is one of, if not her best match.
I think that was one of her best matches and one of Becky's best matches.
I think she's looked incredible.
I really got into it, and I don't usually like cage matches, and this feud or what has been iffy with stuff, but I actually got into it and thought that was maybe my match of the night. I really loved the tag match.
Yeah,
that
was
felt
really
like
fun.
Stadium Stampede Anarchy.
Yeah.
They clearly watched that and went, okay, we got to do that. And that felt like it. The hockey, the Lemieux jersey or whatever.
I just think it's a shame we haven't seen more of these like top level tag matches with Owens and Zayn, because this is like, it took me back to those, Ring of Honor matches against the Briscoes and that kind of thing. Just a wild brawl, which are normally quite sanitized in WWE. And I thought this was definitely one of the better like hardcore matches we've seen.
Yeah, I think I said, did I say the right hockey? Now I'm second guessing myself on my hockey player, but I love the spot where they got thrown over the thing and then come back with the jerseys. I was like losing. And then he did the Swanton. Yeah. And the view was crazy, but really, really loved those two matches on that show. Nakamura Seth was okay, but it still didn't quite live up to.
I agree. I enjoyed this new presentation of Nakamura. I think
anime,
that's really working.
That was sick. Yeah. It's like a Japanese entrance with the cartoons and shit. That was amazing.
But his wrestling is still just not quite there anymore.
They flew in Muda, sat in front row just to watch him, just to watch Naka lose.
But we're continuing this feud as well.
I guess that's a gimmick match at the pay-per-view, right? So yeah.
But yeah, WWE has had some entertaining stuff.
They got LA Knight.
LA Knight.
Cena giving him the rub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And him being like, I don't need it. Reports that he's just signed or about to sign a big money 5-year contract, and basically saying like, hey, you stick around, we're running with you.
Yeah.
He's been billed as the top babyface now on SmackDown. Really, really excited, because he was someone that won me over in NXT. I think that Cameron Grimes feud in particular, I think we've all known he's been a good promo and a good character, but I think that feud was the one where I go, you know what, you can wrestle. And I don't think The Miz is necessarily the person to show that with, but if we get a LA Knight Seth match down the line, or some of the better wrestlers, LA Knight AJ or whatever, I think the guy can go, and the crowd are completely behind him, and you don't get that too often in WWE. Let's run with it.
Yeah, like I'm not saying beat Roman right away, or just like have him in a program with some people, and he'll
at least be a compelling character to go against Roman.
I'm imagining the Miz thing's continuing. I wonder if him and Cena like team up,
maybe,
or something. Yeah. Maybe Cena LA Knight's the match at Mania eventually. Like, I'm sure he's got a big spot, but it's his promos and shit that people are like really getting into and tuning into. So. Like he's so popular on like TikTok and all that stuff.
I loved his promo on SmackDown after the passing of Bray Wyatt.
Oh,
how
fantastic.
he managed to kind of stay in character, acknowledge his feud, pay tribute to Bray, and then end with the run.
Right.
I thought he like wove everything together so perfectly.
He's his last match, right?
Yeah.
Lights out match.
So he had the match at he had the Lights Out match, and then had a couple of house show matches. I saw them out in Montreal, which I think was his third last house show match.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I can't say I think the whole Jimmy Uso bloodline thing has completely left me cold now. Yeah.
So over it.
They can't keep going back to the well. Jey Uso being on Raw is interesting.
Yeah,
I like
cool.
that people are kind of wary of him. Like Drew kind of being like mad at Cody as well for bringing him in. Like, this guy kind of fucked us all over with our title opportunities. I think that's good. I like when you don't forget the past and like, oh no, he's a good guy now, so we're friends. I think that's something since Triple H has taken control that they have acknowledged the past a bit more. And make it feel like real people.
More like a soap opera where it's like if you've been watching a show for like 5 to 10 years or whatever, it's like these characters
That
don't like
one
each other.
doesn't like
Yeah,
that
it's
one,
like
and that
there's
kind of
things
thing.
like that connect and don't connect, right?
So definitely, I think Raw is stepping up for me, and it's SmackDown that's kind of been lacking a little recently.
Yeah, but I mean, it's got LA Knight on it, and he's
That's true.
super popular, and people are tuning in to just watch him talk. So, but yeah, I enjoyed Payback. I'm pretty sure I'll be checking out Fastlane with especially if they run back Gunther and Gable. So I mean, they're doing some stuff right for sure.
Yeah.
Their pay-per-views have definitely been like such a
They're an easy
step
watch,
up.
aren't they? Now,
Yeah,
whereas
yeah.
they used to be a bit of a slog, and I think now like you get a few pretty good matches on there. It seems to just move quicker than it used to. Like the pacing seems
Yeah.
better. That WWE have had a real come around in the last year, I think.
And it all will go to shit once they bring in CM Punk at
Yeah.
Survivor Series in Chicago.
God.
If he went in, who would you want him to be in a program with? I said Cena. Obviously, there's talks of KO, but don't think either.
I mean, actually, him and LA Knight going back and forth on the mic could be
Promos?
pretty entertaining.
I just don't know wrestling wise, like certain guys he would try to keep up with. But it's funny because when Punk came into AEW, he cut a promo with Tony Khan, basically saying, "I want to work with Jungle Boy, Kenny, and the Bucks."
Yeah.
Didn't really work out that way. So if he comes in and says, "I want to work with blah blah blah," be weary.
Yeah, I mean, Owens is a Bucks, friends of the Bucks, isn't he?
Yeah, he probably doesn't really want to work with them.
Yeah.
But money talks. We'll see.
Yeah, I think they'll be a bit more professional in WWE about working with each other.
Sure,
and
yeah.
Stuff like that.
But yeah, that's what's been going on in WWE. I
Mhm.
can't really say I've been watching too much of anything else. I know Cena was just at Impact 1000, which I haven't got around to watching, but I saw some of like the people that popped up, kind of going back through some history there. Shark Boy
Yeah.
showed up, but yeah, I thought that was like pretty cool, so I might have to check that out as well. But there's always wrestling to watch.
One more kind of NXT note. Gable Steveson
Oh, yeah.
seemingly has... I don't think they've said he's left WWE, but it seems that way. They've cut ties with him in NXT. I think he's gone. We said it was very odd after that Baron Corbin match
Yeah.
where they didn't really acknowledge him at all on TV after that.
Yeah,
Even
they
though
didn't-
he won the match.
No, it
It was a double count out. Was
yeah,
it? Yeah.
Baron Corbin just
He's retired.
retiring gold medalist.
Gold medalist. But also he's not doing the Olympics as well. So
He's not doing anything.
I feel like maybe his past is catching up with him a bit.
I think so too. Actually, that's what I read out of between the lines. Is wait, you're not doing anything after I watched you on. I don't even know you, and then I show up on TV being like, everyone wants to know my future. I really.
I was more interested in which school Thea Hale picked, to be honest.
Yeah. So I guess we won't be seeing him in WWE. His brother's doing all right, I guess.
Yeah, Damon's
Kemp?
still there.
Right, and his flow,
Yeah.
his curly hair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what's been going on in wrestling. We will be back on Tuesday night for a new Up Next, covering everything in the world of NXT, leading up to No Mercy in a little while.
And I have been keeping up with NXT
I've
since
been
being
catching
away. It's still been on a pretty good roll. I thought Heatwave was really good. I thought this week's episode was pretty great. The big angle with Von having his head caved in at the end was pretty good. And you've got some huge matches for this week.
What's coming up this week?
I believe we've got Tiffany Stratton versus Becky Lynch.
Oh shit, yeah, that's insane. I'm kind of interested because if Tiff beats Becky, that's insane. But if Becky beats Tiff, like that kind of changes some things. Maybe they rematch it at No Mercy or something. Like I don't even know, but that's pretty interesting. Love Becky saying she never won that title, which is true. So it's like, hey, why not?
Yeah, we've got Axiom versus Tyler Bate in the NXT Global Heritage Tournament, which I've been enjoying, like
yeah.
the little mini G1 sort of thing they've been doing.
But those two will be good.
Creeds versus Malik Blade and Idris Anofi, which
yeah.
those guys always deliver. Briggs, Jensen, Miles Bourne versus Gulak, Charlie Dempsey, and Damon Kemp. Akira Tozawa versus Nathan Fraser in the Heritage Cup Tournament, which again sounds pretty good. Tiffany Stratton, Becky Lynch, which we mentioned, and Ilya Dragunov, Wesley.
Oh yeah.
This show looks pretty stacked, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to watch this week. We will be chatting about it after NXT goes off the air on Tuesday night over on the Post Wrestling feed. So go look for us. Come hang out in the chat or listen to it the next day. If you don't watch NXT, you can hear us recap it all for you. But I think that wraps us up here today. We will be back as well next Sunday at 2 p.m. We'll be chatting about all the stuff from Dynamite and Collision and everything else in between on next week's show.
Do you think we'll be talking about CM Punk next week? Do you think more stuff is going to happen between this Sunday and next Sunday?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say he's going to remain quiet for a little bit.
Is he going to
Don't
wait till
quote me on
Thanksgiving
it.
again?
Was that when?
I think that's when he dropped the Colt Cabana interview, was like Thanksgiving morning, just like cold, like a
Right.
Drake album drop. Just
CM Punk should just hit up Colt and be like, hey, you want to have a chat?
do you want to have an interview?
We'll record it.
Yeah, I'll pay for the legal fees if anything goes wrong. Wink, wink.
Psych.
What a dick.
Okay, we'll have a every time you say CM Punk next week, you have to put a coin in the CM Punk jar.
All right, okay.
Pepsi jar.
I still got some pennies from back home. So.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we don't have those in Canada anymore. So that wraps us up here today. Everyone in the YouTube chat here today, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate everyone, including Megan, Chris, the other Chris, everyone who joined in there. Laura was in the chat. I see. Hey, everybody. And everyone listening, wherever you are, we appreciate you. Hit that subscribe on YouTube and on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Give us a nice little review. It can go quite a long way. But if you like what you hear, check out all the other stuff. Like I mentioned, a Detox with Jordan. We got a Shot in the Dark. Every week, Cino's filling you in on every other thing going on in the world of wrestling, like Ring of Honor, Impact, Women of Wrestling. Shout out the Tonga Twins, the new tag team champions over there, which I just saw, which is awesome. And then they got a new What Up Though coming out. And if you want to hear me and Davey even more, patreon.com/Poisonrana. Only $5 for a whole month's access of hundreds of podcasts. Oh, I almost said thousands, but we're not there yet. But
We're
one day.
close across the two feeds. I think
Probably
we're
a lot.
close to 1,000.
Something
Maybe
like that.
over now.
Lots of shows over on our Patreon, including movie reviews, wrestling reviews, retro NXT reviews, everything. So go support the BDE.
Yeah.
Because we need it after our long and expensive
Oh,
trip.
yes.
Yes. But thank you, everyone, at Poisonrana Pod, Twitter, Instagram. Go give us a follow to see all the stuff that we do. Join the Facebook page as well. And myself, Braden Herrington, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, at the Brady.
And you can find me at Davie Portman.
That's it. That's all. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And I know you mentioned Gable saying "shush," but in Berlin, what did I learn in German? Tschüss.
Tschüss.
Tschüss. So I just
Tschüss.
kept doing that. So take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And tschüss.
Ahoy!
Poisonrana.